many ghostly spirits can be found throughout Elden Ring. They often provide valuable context that helps us gain a better understanding of the game's complex lore. In today's video, we'll take a brief look at some of their voice lines and connect them with plausible theories. This ghost introduces the concept of Erdtree burial. This practice consisted in burying bodies within crypts, where they were eventually absorbed into the Erdtree root network. What exactly happens to the remains absorbed by the roots is up to interpretation, though a credible theory argues their souls were sustenance for the Erdtree. Regardless, this rite was perceived as a proper death under the Golden Order. By opposition, another nearby spirit is deeply disturbed by the presence of those who live in death. Under the Golden Order, undead creatures were perceived as particularly vile. Therefore, their presence near the Erdtree's roots would have been seen as heresy. This one provides interesting context about the walking mausoleums. It mentions a soulless demigod, an unwanted child of Marika, contained within the walking tomb. There isn't much context to be found about these unnamed demigods, though we can assume they died at some point after the Night of the Black Knives. The reason why they are unwanted by Marika is never made clear, sparking speculation to this day. Another ghost in Weeping Peninsula exults at the sight of the Tower of Return. This dilapidated watchtower contains an enchanted chest which teleports players to the Divine Bridge in Leyndell. This function might have been fulfilled by a gateway before the tower fell into ruin. It is often assumed that the tower was built on Godfrey's orders, perhaps as a way to facilitate the Tarnished's travels. Based on how this ghost refers to Ranni as princess, we can safely assume he used to be a vassal of the Carian royals. His line subtly refers to Ranni's original body, left at the top of the Divine Tower, which bears the proof of her involvement in Godwyn's murder. The globe mechanism hides the real way to her body, figuratively obscuring evidence of her scheme. Vaik was a tarnished champion who was embraced by the Three Fingers. Although he managed to gather 2 great runes and reached the mountaintops, his path eventually ended in an Everjail, preventing him from becoming Lord of Frenzied Flame. This spirit seems disappointed in Vaik's failure. A popular theory suggests Vaik felt remorse after the death of his Finger Maiden, leading him to resist the Frenzied Flame's madness. At that point, Chaos followers would have come to the realization he wasn't their chosen one after all. To the north of Altus Plateau, lies Dominula, the Windmill village. Here, a ghost is heard begging to be spared from the gruesome festival taking place in the village. Interestingly, this skinning ritual was tacitly tolerated by the Golden Order. This is one of several clues linking this village to Marika's origins, as well as the Godskin Apostles. The Erdtree is known as a safe haven for those oppressed by the Golden Order. As such, many have been attempting to reach it, like the Misbegotten and Albenorix. However, the journey north is evidently harsh. Even if one knows the Erdtree's location, they still need to cross the consecrated Snowfield, a harsh, frigid environment plunged in an eternal blizzard. These individuals probably passed from exposure while attempting to reach the Erdtree. This spirit expresses anger towards Morg for abducting Miquella. Perhaps this individual died trying to rescue the youthful demigod. Interestingly, even Gideon the All-Knowing didn't know of the abduction, suggesting it is not common knowledge. Perhaps those loyal to Miquella knew exactly where he was, but were asked not to intervene. This spirit likely disobeyed that order. Possibly some of the most debated spirit dialogues in the whole game, the ghosts in Castle Saul deliver fascinating bits of lore. Their lines can be interpreted into several theories, though they clearly hint at some kind of plan enacted by Miquella. Whether this points to Godwyn or the events of Shadow of the Erdtree is up to interpretation. Moving on to the DLC, a ghost laments his fate in the abandoned Ailing village. It seems he was in the process of being transformed into a man-fly. Judging from where they're found, these misshapen creatures likely belonged to the lowest caste of Hornsent society. As for the reason behind their transformation, it could either be a curse or an unintended change brought by the crucible of life's energies. These ghosts provide important context about the process of jar making and the sacrifices conducted by the Hornsent. Because their flesh was gifted with life-blending properties, the Numen, or Shaman, were stuffed into jars, causing them to meld with one another. This process was equated with sainthood for the Hornsent, probably because it replicated the crucible of life's properties. These lines help us get a sense of the time frame for Messmer's crusade, which has evidently been going on long enough for despair to set in amidst his troops. The invading army likely expected to return to the lands between at first. As decades went by, though, these men realized they'd been abandoned by their queen, who they'd never thought capable of forsaking her own child. Statues of Marika were defaced, conveying a sense of profound resentment against the one who doomed them to endless war. Here, a spirit laments Miquella's abandonment of his other half, evidently seeing it as a betrayal of his compassionate ideals. This plot thread continues upon meeting Saint Trina, who explicitly asks the Tarnished to slay Miquella.
Godhood would be Miquella's prison. A cage divinity is beyond saving. You must kill Miquella. Grant him forgiveness.
This excellent bit of characterization reveals the truth of Miquella's misguided plan. By sacrificing everything to usher in a compelled age of compassion, he lost his sense of benevolence and empathy, justifying the Tarnished's quest to defeat him from a moral standpoint. If you enjoy my content, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.